The power of emotional control. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Written and published by Echo Elevate. Introduction. The calm within the storm. There is a kind of power that doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It doesn't lose control. It stays calm, even in chaos. That power is emotional control. And once you master it, life begins to change. Quietly, but completely. You stop reacting to every problem. You stop letting people pull you into their storms. You stop wasting energy on things you can't control. Instead, you move with purpose. You think with clarity. You respond with strength. This book is about that kind of power. The power that comes from stillness, not noise. It's about how to stay calm, and in doing so become dangerous. Not dangerous in a reckless way, but dangerous because nothing shakes you, nothing throws you off balance, nothing makes you lose yourself. When the world gets loud, you stay focused. When emotions rise, you stay centered. When others panic, you stand still and lead. That's emotional control, and it's one of the rarest skills in the modern world. In the chapters ahead, you'll learn how to understand your emotions instead of fighting them. You'll learn how to pause before reacting, how to create space between what happens and what you do next. You'll learn how to turn pain into strength, chaos into clarity, and fear into calm. Each lesson is simple, practical, and powerful. You don't need to become emotionless. You just need to become aware. Awareness gives you choice. Choice gives you control. And control gives you freedom. You'll see that the strongest people aren't the ones who show the most emotion. They're the ones who control it. They use emotion as energy, directed, focused, and calm. This book will guide you through that transformation. It will help you build the mindset of emotional discipline, mental toughness, and quiet confidence. So as you listen, take your time. Let each idea sink in. Reflect on how it applies to your life. By the end, you'll begin to see yourself differently. You'll understand that emotional control is not just about peace. It's about power. Because when you can stay calm, you can handle anything. So take a deep breath. Let's begin this journey. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Chapter 1. The hidden power of staying calm. In a world that moves fast, the calm person stands out. While everyone rushes, reacts and panics, the calm one observes. They think clearly. They choose wisely. They act deliberately. And that's what makes them powerful. Most people believe power comes from aggression, confidence, or control over others. But true power, lasting power, comes from control over yourself. It comes from the ability to remain composed when others lose their balance. When you stay calm, you don't let emotions dictate your decisions. You don't let pressure bend your focus. You don't allow fear or anger to cloud your judgment. You become unshakable. And in that stillness, you gain an advantage that few ever master. The storm and the stillness. Imagine two people standing in the middle of a storm. One is shouting, running, trying to fight the wind. The other stands firm, waiting for a clear moment before moving. Who survives the storm better? It's always the one who moves with intention, the one who uses patience instead of panic. That's the essence of emotional control, knowing that storms will come, but refusing to become one yourself. You can't stop chaos, but you can stop yourself from becoming chaotic. You can't control every outcome, but you can control how you show up to face it. The calm person doesn't need to prove their strength. Their strength is obvious. It's in their composure. Why calm feels so powerful. Calmness changes everything. Your voice, your presence, your thinking. People naturally trust those who remain steady under pressure. It signals confidence, wisdom and control. When you speak calmly, people listen more carefully. When you act calmly, people follow more willingly. When you stay calm during conflict, you set the emotional tone for everyone around you. Think of great leaders, negotiators or athletes. They all share one trait. They stay calm when it matters most. Michael Jordan didn't panic when the game was on the line. Nelson Mandela didn't lose composure after decades in prison. They understood something most people don't. That calmness is power in disguise. The calm mind sees more. When emotions run high, perception narrows. You see less, you hear less, and you think less clearly. That's why people say or do things they regret in anger. But when you're calm, your awareness expands. You start to see possibilities that others miss. You think before you speak. You move before you're forced to react. This clarity creates better choices, and better choices shape your destiny. Imagine a firefighter walking into a burning building. If he panics, he dies. If he stays calm, he thinks. He finds the safest path, saves lives and gets out alive. His calmness isn't just emotional control, it's survival. The same applies in everyday life. Calm people survive emotional fires, arguments, failures, losses, not because they feel nothing, but because they think clearly through everything. Calmness, not weakness. Many mistake calmness for passivity. They think being calm means doing nothing. But calmness doesn't mean you don't care. It means you don't crumble. Calmness is strength under control. It's a mind that can feel emotion but doesn't drown in it. It's a heart that can break, but still choose wisdom over reaction. Being calm doesn't mean you avoid confrontation. It means you face it with clarity, not chaos. It means you know when to speak, and when to stay silent. Weakness reacts. Strength responds. Calmness is that quiet space between reaction and response. The space where power lives. Real-world power of staying calm. Picture this. You're in a heated meeting. Everyone is arguing. Voices rise. One person. You remain silent, steady, composed. You wait until the noise fades. Then speak with clarity and direction. In that moment, everyone listens. Not because you shouted, but because your calm cut through the chaos. That's how emotional control creates influence. It's not about being louder. It's about being centered when others lose control. Calmness wins battles, not through speed, but through precision. In business, calm leaders make better deals. In sports, calm players make better decisions. In life, calm people handle chaos without becoming part of it. How to build calmness daily. Calmness is a skill. It doesn't appear overnight. It's built through daily practice. Start small. When something annoys you, pause before reacting. When someone speaks harshly, breathe before responding. When plans fall apart, step back and reassess before you act. Each pause builds emotional muscle. Each deep breath strengthens your control. You'll begin to notice a shift. The world still moves fast, but you move slower inside. Your reactions soften. Your choices sharpen. You stop wasting energy on noise that doesn't matter. And that's the real secret. Calmness saves your energy for what truly does. Calm creates confidence. When you know you can stay calm under pressure, you stop fearing pressure itself. You stop fearing conflict. You stop fearing failure. Calmness gives birth to confidence. Not loud confidence, but quiet certainty. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't need validation, because it comes from control. You don't have to prove your power anymore. You live it. You embody it. And that kind of presence, calm, centered, grounded, makes you dangerous in the best possible way. Final thoughts. Calmness isn't the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. It's what separates those who react from those who lead. It's what turns ordinary people into powerful ones. When you stay calm, you're not ignoring life's storms, you're learning how to walk through them with purpose. You're learning how to hold your center no matter what happens around you. So remember this truth. The calm person always wins in the long run, because while others burn their energy fighting the storm, you use that same energy to rise above it. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Chapter 2. Understanding emotional triggers. Before you can control your emotions, you must understand what controls them. Every reaction you've ever had, every moment of anger, fear, or frustration, didn't appear out of nowhere. It was triggered. Something, or someone, pulled a hidden switch inside you, and most of the time, you didn't even notice it happen. That's the real danger of emotional triggers. They make you react before you even realize you're reacting. They take away your power in an instant and hand it to the world around you. Understanding those triggers is the first step toward true emotional control. The invisible buttons inside you. Imagine you have invisible buttons all over your mind. Each one represents a different emotion. Anger, fear, pride, insecurity, sadness. Now imagine that other people, events, and even memories can push those buttons without your permission. That's what happens every day. A single comment can set you off. A small disappointment can ruin your mood. A memory can pull you back into pain from years ago. And before you know it, your emotions are in control, not you. But here's the truth. No one can push those buttons unless you give them access. When you become aware of your triggers, you take back control of the switchboard. The power of awareness. Awareness is everything. You can't manage what you don't recognize. When you start to observe your emotional reactions, you begin to notice patterns. You'll see that certain situations always bring out the same feelings. Maybe it's when someone questions your ability. Maybe it's when you feel ignored, disrespected, or compared. These reactions reveal your emotional weak spots, not as flaws but as signals. Each trigger is pointing to something deeper inside you. An insecurity, a belief, or a wound that hasn't healed yet. Think of triggers as teachers. They're not here to hurt you. They're here to show you where you still need to grow. A simple story. The mirror of reaction. Let's look at a story. One that happens every day. A man named Alex works in an office. He's good at his job, but his boss rarely compliments him. One morning, his boss walks by and says, "You could have done better on that report." Alex immediately feels angry and unappreciated. All day he replays that moment in his head. He gets defensive. He starts doubting his worth. But here's the interesting part. The boss didn't insult him. He simply made a statement. The emotional reaction came from Alex's inner story. The belief that I'm not good enough. The boss didn't trigger the anger. The belief did. That's how emotional triggers work. They don't start from the outside. They start from within. Once Alex realizes this, he begins to see the pattern. Every time he feels criticized, the same emotion surfaces. That awareness allows him to pause, breathe, and ask, is this situation really a threat? Or is it just an old belief trying to protect me? And just like that, he begins to take back control. Where triggers come from. Emotional triggers come from many places. Past experiences, deep fears, unmet expectations, or even pride. A childhood memory of rejection can make you sensitive to criticism. A history of failure can make you fear judgment. A habit of comparison can make you feel threatened by others' success. Your mind connects new experiences to old emotions. That's why a small comment can feel like a big attack. Your brain links it to past pain and reacts as if it's happening all over again. But the moment you recognize this pattern, the spell breaks. You stop reacting from the past and start responding from the present. Pause. Before the reaction, emotional control begins in the pause. When you feel that spark, the tightening chest, the racing thought, the sudden anger, don't move, don't speak yet, don't act yet, just pause. That small moment gives your awareness time to step in. Ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling right now? What triggered this emotion? Is this about the situation or something deeper? That pause is your shield. It separates your true self from the automatic reaction your emotions want to create. Most people skip the pause and pay the price. They say things they don't mean. They act out of pride or fear. They let the moment control them. But the few who pause control the moment instead. Learning to see without judgment. Understanding your triggers doesn't mean judging yourself for having them. It means observing them with curiosity. If anger appears, don't fight it. Understand it. If jealousy shows up, don't suppress it. Study it. Ask, what is this emotion trying to teach me? This mindset shifts you from being in your emotions to being aware of them. And that awareness gives you the freedom to choose a better response. You can't fix what you refuse to face. But once you see it clearly, you can manage it. How to identify your triggers? Here's a simple method you can start using today. Step 1. Reflect. At the end of each day, think about the moments that upset you. Ask yourself what exactly triggered that reaction. Was it a word, a tone, a situation, or a memory? Step 2. Write it down. Keep a small journal. Write down what happened, how you felt, and what you believed in that moment. You'll start to see patterns. Step 3. Redefine the meaning. When a trigger appears again, pause and question it. Remind yourself, this emotion isn't in control. I am. With time, those triggers lose their power. You'll still feel emotions, but they won't own you. You'll feel the spark, but you'll decide whether to ignite the fire. Emotional triggers as tools. Here's a powerful truth. Your triggers can become tools. Each one reveals a part of you that's asking for understanding. Every trigger you face is a chance to strengthen your emotional muscle. When something used to upset you and no longer does, that's growth. That's proof you're evolving. Calm doesn't mean you've stopped feeling. It means you've learned to lead your emotions instead of being led by them. Final thoughts. Understanding your triggers is the key to emotional freedom. Once you know what controls your reactions, you can reclaim that control. The next time you feel yourself getting angry, defensive, or anxious, pause. Recognize the pattern. Don't fight the emotion. Observe it. Because the moment you can see your triggers clearly, they stop controlling you. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. That's the foundation of emotional power. Not to avoid emotion, but to understand it deeply enough to rise above it. Every time you stay aware, you grow stronger. And the stronger your awareness, the calmer your presence. In that calm, you become untouchable. Stay aware. Stay dangerous. Chapter 3. The enemy within. The greatest battle you'll ever fight won't be with the world around you. It will be with the world inside you. That battle is constant. It's quiet. And it's powerful. Every time you try to grow, to push forward, or to change your life, a voice inside you resists. It whispers doubt. It creates fear. It tells you to stop That voice is the enemy within. It's not always loud. Sometimes it sounds like logic. Sometimes it sounds like comfort. But its mission is always the same: to keep you exactly where you are. The voice of resistance. Have you ever noticed how your mind fights back the moment you decide to do something hard? You plan to wake up early, and that voice says, you need more rest. You want to speak up, and it says, what if you sound foolish? You're about to start something new, and it whispers, you're not ready yet. That's resistance. It doesn't come from outside forces. It comes from within your own mind. It's your comfort zone fighting for survival. It knows that growth feels uncomfortable, and it wants to protect you from discomfort, even at the cost of your potential. This voice isn't evil. It's protective, but it's misguided. It doesn't understand that growth and pain often travel together. It doesn't see that fear and opportunity often share the same door. The inner critic. The inner critic is one of the enemy's sharpest weapons. It remembers every mistake you've made, every failure, every word of doubt anyone has ever told you, and it repeats them over and over until you start to believe they're true. You're not enough. You'll fail again. People will laugh. You hear it so often that you stop questioning it. You think it's your own truth, but it's not. It's just noise from your past, disguised as wisdom. When you learn to see that voice for what it is, fear wearing a mask, you begin to take your power back. How the enemy controls you. The enemy within feeds on reaction. It wants you to get angry when criticized. It wants you to overthink until you give up. It wants you to doubt yourself just enough to stay still. It wins every time you let emotion overtake awareness. Think about it. You don't need anyone else to sabotage you. Your own thoughts can do that. The mind that can create greatness can also create chaos. And it all depends on which part of that mind you listen to. The outer world only reflects what's happening inside. If you're at war within, peace outside will never last. That's why emotional control isn't about silence or coldness. It's about mastering the voice inside your head. A story. The Two Fighters. There's an old story about two fighters. The first one spends his life fighting everyone around him. People, challenges, problems. The second spends his life mastering his reactions, his thoughts, his fears. When they finally meet in battle, the first fighter is strong but restless. The second is calm, composed and focused. The fight begins, and the calm fighter wins with ease. Not because he was stronger, but because he wasn't fighting himself. The same is true for you. When you silence your inner chaos, you move with precision. You make better decisions. You stay grounded under pressure. That's how you win. Not by fighting harder, but by fighting smarter. Awareness is the weapon. The first step to defeating the enemy within is awareness. You can't fight what you can't see. Start by observing your thoughts. When that inner voice speaks, don't argue. Just listen. Notice when it appears. Notice what it says. And most importantly, notice how it makes you feel. This simple act of awareness separates you from the voice. It reminds you that you are not your thoughts. You are the one hearing them. Once you understand that, the enemy loses most of its power. You begin to realize you can't control every thought that enters your mind, but you can control which ones you feed. Feeding the right voice. There are two voices inside you. One that limits you. The enemy feeds on fear, but the leader within feeds on belief. Every time you act with courage, you starve the enemy. Every time you stay calm under pressure, you weaken it. Every time you push forward, despite doubt, you reclaim ground inside your mind. The voice you listen to becomes the life you live. So start feeding the right one. Feed it with discipline. Feed it with truth. Feed it with focus. The more you practice awareness, the quieter the inner enemy becomes, turning the enemy into an ally. Here's the twist. The enemy within doesn't have to stay your enemy. When you understand its purpose, you can turn it into your teacher. That voice of doubt often appears when you're about to step into growth. It's a signal that you're moving beyond your comfort zone. Instead of fearing it, thank it. Say to yourself, this fear means I'm doing something that matters. You don't have to silence the voice. You just have to stop obeying it. When you act in spite of it, it begins to work for you, sharpening your awareness, reminding you to stay humble, and keeping you focused. What once held you back now becomes the force that strengthens you. How to win the inner battle. To win against the enemy within, you need discipline, not emotion. Here are 3 simple practices. 1. Pause before you react. Every time a thought tries to trigger you, breathe. Don't act out of impulse. Let awareness lead. 2. Question the thought. Ask, is this thought helping me or holding me back? If it's rooted in fear or doubt, release it. Don't wrestle with it. Just don't feed it. 3. Replace it with power. Speak truth to yourself, calmly, clearly, and consistently. Tell yourself what you can do, what you will do, what you already are. The more you practice, the more control you build. The calm within the conflict. Remember, emotional control doesn't mean the battle disappears. It means you stop being ruled by it. You'll still feel fear. You'll still hear doubt. But you'll move forward anyway. That's strength. That's leadership. That's mastery. The calm person is not the one without emotion. It's the one who knows where to place it. When you learn to face the enemy within, the outer world becomes easier. You stop being pulled by every problem or opinion. You walk with quiet certainty, because you know who's in control. Final thoughts. The real fight isn't out there. It's in here. Inside your thoughts. Inside your fears. Inside your reactions. Every day you choose which voice to follow. The one that keeps you safe and small, or the one that pushes you toward growth and greatness. Emotional control begins when you take command of that inner world. When you can sit in silence and feel peace, even when your mind is loud. That's victory. So listen carefully. Be aware of the voice that tries to stop you, and remind yourself, you are not your fear. You are the force that stands behind it. Master the enemy within, and no enemy outside will ever defeat you. Stay aware. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Chapter 4. The pause that builds power. Power isn't always about action. Sometimes, it's about the moment before action. That small space between what happens and how you respond. That space, that pause is where true strength lives. Most people don't see it. They react instantly, pulled by emotion, rushing to fix, defend, or attack. They move so fast that they lose control before they even realize it. But the calm person knows something different. They know that the pause is power. It's not hesitation. It's control. It's not delay. It's precision. The pause gives you time to think. It gives you time to breathe. It gives you time to choose who you want to be in that moment. And that changes everything. The split second that shapes your life. Every day you face hundreds of moments that demand a reaction. A rude comment, a sudden setback, a mistake, a difficult decision. In each of those moments, you have 2 choices: react or pause. Reactions are automatic. They come from emotion, habit, or fear. They're fast, but often wrong. The pause, however, gives you power. In that small silence, you separate what happened from what it means. You step back and see clearly, without distortion, without panic. That single pause can save a relationship. It can save your reputation. It can even save your peace of mind. Because once words are spoken, or actions are taken, you can't take them back. But if you pause, even for a few seconds, you can prevent days, or even years, of regret. A real story. The email that changed everything. Let's look at a simple example. A woman named Lisa received a harsh email from her boss late one night. It was blunt. It felt unfair. Her first reaction was anger. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, ready to fire back. But then she paused. She closed her laptop and decided to wait until morning. When she read the email again the next day, she noticed something she missed. Her boss wasn't attacking her. He was under pressure from his own deadline. She replied calmly, with solutions instead of emotion. By the end of the week, her boss thanked her for her professionalism. One pause changed the outcome. That's the power of emotional control in real life. Not in theory, in moments. Moments where emotion wants to take over, but awareness takes the lead. Why the pause is so hard. The pause seems simple, but it's one of the hardest things to practice. Your brain is wired for survival. When it senses threat, even a social one, it reacts instantly. Someone insults you, and your body floods with adrenaline. Your pulse rises. Your breathing shortens. Your mind wants to defend, argue, prove. But here's the truth. Most of life's threats aren't real danger. They're emotional illusions. They're moments that test your ego, not your safety. And if you can learn to pause through them, you gain mastery over the illusion. You stop being a puppet of your emotions. You become the director of your reactions. The science of the pause, neuroscientists call it the response gap. It's the time between stimulus and response, a few seconds that can change everything. When you pause, you allow the emotional part of your brain, the amygdala, to settle. You give your rational mind, the prefrontal cortex, a chance to take charge. It's like switching from storm mode to strategy mode, from reaction to reflection. That's why people who pause seem more composed. Their emotions don't make decisions, their mind does. And over time that habit rewires the brain to stay calm automatically. You train your emotions the way you train muscles, through repetition, awareness and patience. The pause in everyday life. You can practice the pause anywhere. When you feel frustrated in traffic, pause. When someone cuts in line, pause. When your phone lights up with a stressful message, pause. You'll notice how often emotion tries to rush you, and you'll also notice how much better your life becomes when you don't give in to that rush. Pausing doesn't mean you ignore what's happening. It means you control the tempo of your response. You slow the world down long enough to make the right move. In that silence, you'll often realize you don't need to say as much as you thought. You don't need to react as fast as you feel. You don't need to fight every battle that comes your way. The pause reveals that not everything deserves your energy. How to practice the power of pause. Here are a few simple ways to build this skill into your daily life. 1. Breathe before you speak. When emotion rises, take one deep breath. It sounds small, but that breath resets your body. It turns off the fight or flight response and brings clarity back online. 2. Count to 3. Before responding to a text, a comment or a situation, count slowly. 1, 2, 3. Give your awareness time to arrive before your emotion takes control. 3. Ask a question. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, What's really happening here? Will this matter tomorrow? Is my reaction helping or hurting me? These simple pauses create space for wisdom. Calm as a form of power. When you pause, people notice. In a heated discussion, silence commands attention. In a crisis, composure earns respect. The pause gives you presence, the ability to hold space instead of filling it. That presence changes how others perceive you. It communicates strength without aggression. It projects confidence without arrogance. Calmness doesn't mean inaction. It means controlled action. It means you strike at the right moment. Not every moment. Think of a lion. It doesn't chase every sound in the jungle. It waits. It watches. And when it moves, it never misses. That's the power of patience. That's the power of pause. When you master the pause over time, you'll start to see the pause as your natural rhythm. Life will still challenge you. It always will. But your response will change. You'll stop reacting from emotion. You'll start responding from intention. You'll notice arguments fading before they begin. You'll notice peace lasting longer. After every storm, you'll notice your decisions becoming sharper, clearer, wiser, and you'll realize something profound. Most problems don't require more effort. They require more calm. The pause gives you that calm. It's your reset button in a world that never stops moving. Final thoughts. The pause is not weakness. It's the highest form of control. It's where emotion meets awareness. It's where clarity begins. It's where strength is built in silence. Anyone can react. Few can pause, and those who can rule their world. So the next time life tests your patience, remember this. You don't have to react right away. You don't have to match chaos with chaos. Take a breath. Hold your ground. Let calm lead. Because in that quiet space between emotion and response, you'll find your greatest power. Stay patient. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Chapter 5. Mastering the response. Life will always give you something to react to. A challenge, a comment, a crisis. But the difference between people who lose control and people who lead it is in how they respond. Reactions are emotional. Responses are intentional. A reaction comes from habit. A response comes from awareness. Reactions happen to you. Responses happen through you. That's the essence of emotional control. Learning not to react to life, but to respond to it. The power of choice. Between every event and your reaction to it lies a choice. Most people never see that space. They move too quickly, caught in the heat of the moment. Someone insults them. They snap back. A plan fails. They panic. A delay happens. They lose patience. They think life is causing their emotions. But it's not life that decides. It's the choice they make in that moment. When you respond instead of react, you reclaim that choice. You decide how much power a situation gets. You decide whether to make it worse or to make it better. That's what separates emotional strength from emotional chaos. A lesson from the mirror. A man once told a story about his daily routine. Every morning, he looked in the mirror and said, "Today I don't control the world. I control my response to it." He said it changed his life. Before that, he used to argue over small things. Traffic, deadlines, misunderstandings. Each moment controlled him. But when he began practicing the pause and focusing on his response, the world didn't change. He did. He became calmer, wiser, stronger. He learned that mastery doesn't come from changing everything around you. It comes from managing what happens inside you. And that starts with mastering the response. Reaction is fire. Response is light. Think of a reaction like a spark in dry grass. It burns fast. It spreads quickly. And once it starts, you can't control it. That's what anger, jealousy, or panic does. It takes 1 second of emotion and turns it into hours of damage. But a response is different. It's like a beam of light. Controlled, directed, purposeful. It illuminates instead of burns. When you respond, you don't waste energy. You use it. You turn emotion into clarity, and clarity into action. Fire destroys. Light reveals. And the calm person always chooses light. Responding under pressure. Pressure is where your emotional control is truly tested. Anyone can stay calm when things are easy. But when everything falls apart, that's when your discipline speaks. Think of a soldier in battle. If he reacts to every sound, he panics. If he responds with focus, he survives. The same rule applies to life. When pressure builds, your response determines your outcome. A reactive mind says, "Why is this happening to me?" A responsive mind asks, "What can I do about it?" The difference seems small, but it changes everything. One keeps you trapped. The other keeps you in control. How to shift from reaction to response. Mastering your response takes practice, but it's a skill you can build. Here's a simple process to start using today. Step 1. Recognize the emotion. Notice what you're feeling in the moment. Anger, fear, frustration. Name it. Labeling emotion separates you from it. It reminds you, you're feeling anger, but you're not anger itself. Step 2. Breathe. A single slow breath resets your nervous system. It pulls you out of your emotional brain and brings you back to awareness. Step 3. Ask before you act. Ask yourself 3 questions. What outcome do I want? Will reacting help me get there? What would a calm version of me do? Those few seconds of reflection build control. Step 4. Respond with intention. Once you're calm, act with purpose. Speak clearly. Move deliberately. Do what serves the moment, not what feeds the emotion. That's how you master the art of response. A story. The silent leader. A team was struggling at work. Tension was high. Deadlines were missed. People were snapping at each other. Their manager, Sarah, had every reason to explode. But she didn't. In one meeting, when everyone started blaming each other, she stayed quiet. She took a breath, waited, and said softly, "Let's focus on fixing this, not fighting about it." Her calmness reset the entire room. Voices lowered, minds cleared, solutions replaced arguments. She didn't lead by force. She led by emotional control. Her response changed the direction of the team, not through authority, but through composure. That's leadership. And leadership begins with how you respond when emotions run high. Response builds respect. When you master your response, people notice. They start to trust your judgment. They feel safe around your energy. You become the person others look to when things go wrong. Not because you have all the answers, but because you don't lose yourself under pressure. Calm people attract respect because they project stability. They don't add noise. They create clarity. Your ability to respond with strength, not emotion, is what builds influence. It's what turns conflict into cooperation. And it's what makes you powerful without ever needing to shout. Emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is not about suppressing feelings. It's about channeling them in the right direction. It's the ability to say, "Yes, I feel this, but I decide what it means and what I'll do next." That's emotional intelligence in action. It's not coldness. It's self-mastery. Because the truth is, your emotions aren't your enemy. They're energy. And energy, when guided, becomes strength. Every time you respond with control instead of chaos, you prove to yourself that you're in charge. Response as a reflection of character. Your reaction shows your emotion. Your response shows your character. Anyone can react out of pain. Few can respond out of purpose. When you choose your response carefully, you reveal your values. You show the world who you are, not who the moment tries to make you. Your calm becomes your message. Your composure becomes your reputation. Your restraint becomes your respect. That's the kind of power that doesn't fade. Final thoughts. Reactions are fast, but they cost you control. Responses are calm, but they build your power. When you master your response, you stop being controlled by the moment and start mastering it. You begin to live with clarity. You begin to move with confidence. You begin to speak with purpose. So remember this simple truth. Every challenge is an invitation. Every emotion is a test. And every response is a chance to rise above it. Don't react to life. Respond to it. Because the way you respond determines everything: your peace, your power, your destiny. Stay focused. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Chapter 6. Emotional control under pressure. Pressure reveals everything. It strips away the surface. It shows who you really are when comfort disappears. Anyone can stay calm when life is easy, but when the heat rises, when time runs out, when everything's on the line, that's when your discipline speaks. Pressure doesn't create weakness. It exposes it. And it doesn't create strength either. It reveals it. In those moments when your heart races and your mind starts to panic, emotional control becomes your greatest weapon. Because when the world speeds up, the calm mind slows down. And that's where true power lives. In the stillness within chaos. The nature of pressure. Pressure is not the enemy. It's a test. It's life asking you, can you stay composed when everything demands reaction? It comes in many forms. Deadlines, competition, expectations, failure. Sometimes it's external. Sometimes it's all in your head. But no matter where it comes from, the result is the same. Your emotions surge. Your body tightens. Your thoughts blur. Pressure compresses you. It makes your world feel smaller. And if you don't manage it, it takes control of your decisions. That's why emotional control under pressure is so rare and so valuable. The fighter's calm. Think of a fighter in the ring. The crowd is loud. The lights are blinding. Every punch could end the match. But the best fighters don't move faster. They move smarter. They stay calm, even when every instinct screams to panic. They know that if they lose their composure, they lose the fight. It's not the strongest fighter who wins. It's the one who can breathe when others can't. It's the one who can think clearly when the world spins out of control. That's the same calm you need in life. Because every day you step into your own kind of ring. Work, relationships, challenges, uncertainty, and how you perform under pressure determines how far you go. A real story. The pilot's decision. A commercial pilot once shared a story. Mid-flight, an engine failed. Panic spread through the cabin. The alarm screamed. But the pilot didn't panic. He took a breath, followed his checklist, and made clear decisions step by step. The plane landed safely. When asked later how he stayed so calm, he said, "Because panic doesn't solve problems. Procedure does." That's emotional control under pressure. It's not emotionless. It's disciplined emotion. It's clarity in chaos. It's the ability to keep your head when everyone else loses theirs. The body's reaction to stress. When pressure hits, your body prepares for battle. Your heart beats faster. Your breathing quickens. Your muscles tense. It's the body's way of saying, we're under threat. But in most modern situations, The threat isn't physical, it's emotional. Fear of failure, judgment, loss or rejection. That's where awareness becomes vital, because when you recognize the signs of pressure, the tight chest, the shallow breath, the racing thoughts, you can interrupt the pattern, you can pause, you can breathe deeper, you can ground yourself in the present. That single act transforms panic into presence. Pressure and performance. Pressure can crush you or sharpen you. The difference lies in how you interpret it. If you see pressure as danger, your body tightens and your focus narrows. If you see pressure as challenge, your body activates energy, not fear. It's the same energy, but your mindset directs it. That's why elite performers train not just their skills, but their emotions. They learn to associate pressure with preparation, not panic. They know that stress is just energy in motion, and that energy can be harnessed. When you stay calm, you direct that energy where it matters most. When you lose control, it consumes you. How to stay calm? When it matters most. Emotional control under pressure isn't about ignoring fear, it's about managing it. Here's how to practice it in real time. Step 1. Breathe with intention. Slow, deep breaths send a message to your brain. I'm safe. That slows the body's stress response and brings clarity back. Step 2. Focus on what you can control. Pressure makes you want to fix everything. But power comes from focusing on what's within your control, your attitude, your actions, your words. Step 3. Simplify the moment. Under pressure, your mind wants to complicate things. Don't let it. Ask what's the next right move. One small calm decision at a time. Step 4. Trust your preparation. Pressure is not the time to doubt yourself. It's the time to rely on what you've built, your habits, your training, your discipline. Calm is confidence, and confidence is built long before the moment of pressure arrives. The calm leader effect. People under pressure look for someone who doesn't crumble, someone who radiates control when everything feels uncertain. That person can be you. Your calm can stabilize a team. Your steady tone can shift a conversation. Your patience can diffuse a conflict before it escalates. That's why emotional control under pressure isn't just personal, it's contagious. Your composure becomes a mirror. Others start to reflect it, and soon your presence alone brings order to chaos. That's leadership, not through command, but through example. Pressure as training. Every time you handle pressure with calm, you train your mind for the next storm. You build emotional stamina. You strengthen your tolerance for discomfort. Pressure becomes less of a threat and more of a teacher. It teaches patience. It teaches focus. It teaches confidence. You begin to welcome challenges, knowing they reveal your readiness. You stop running from pressure. You rise under it. Because pressure doesn't break you. It shows you how powerful you really are. A powerful shift in perspective. Here's a truth most people never realize. Pressure isn't a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're growing. It means life trusts you with more responsibility, more complexity, more opportunity. If life didn't think you could handle it, it wouldn't give it to you. When you see pressure through that lens, it changes how you respond to it. Instead of resisting it, you embrace it. Instead of panicking, you prepare. The moment you stop fearing pressure, it stops controlling you. Final thoughts. Pressure is not your enemy, it's your mirror. It shows you the truth about your control, your focus, and your mindset. In every difficult moment you have two choices: to let pressure consume you, or to let it refine you. Choose refinement. Choose awareness. Choose composure. Because calm under pressure is not natural. It's trained. It's built through discipline. It's earned through practice. When the world starts to shake, let your presence be the stillness that steadies it. That's the mark of true strength. That's emotional mastery in motion. Stay steady, stay sharp, stay dangerous. Chapter 7. Detachment and Dominance. True control isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about mastering your attachment to them. Detachment is not coldness. It's clarity. It's the ability to see things as they are, not as your emotions paint them. When you detach, you stop chasing every feeling, every outcome, every opinion. You stop being pulled by what you can't control. You start to see the bigger picture, and from that place of calm distance you gain something powerful: dominance, not over others, but over yourself. Because the one who cannot be controlled by emotion cannot be controlled by anything. The misunderstood power of detachment. Most people misunderstand detachment. They think it means not caring. They think it means living with no emotion. But that's not detachment. That's disconnection. And there's a big difference. Disconnection is running away from feeling. Detachment is feeling everything, but not being enslaved by any of it. You still care. You still love. You still engage fully with life. But you do it from a place of stability, not dependency. You don't need things to go your way to stay calm. You don't need people to act a certain way to stay centered. You've trained yourself to stand strong, even when the world shifts. That's the kind of peace detachment gives you. The peace that doesn't depend on conditions. The trap of attachment. Attachment is the root of emotional chaos. We get attached to outcomes. I have to succeed or I've failed. I need their approval, or I'm not enough. I must have this, or I can't be happy. These attachments create emotional traps. They build invisible strings that control how you feel. And the more strings you have, the less free you are. One bad comment ruins your day. One rejection crushes your confidence. One mistake defines your worth. But when you detach, those strings begin to fall away. You stop basing your peace on things you can't control. You stop chasing happiness and start building it from within. The calm observer detachment turns you from a participant of chaos into an observer of it. Imagine you're standing beside a busy highway. Cars are racing by. Noise, motion, distraction everywhere. That's your mind on a normal day. Thoughts rushing, emotions colliding, fears honking for attention. But now imagine you step back. You're standing safely on the hill, watching from above. You see the same chaos, but you're no longer in it. That's detachment. It's the art of stepping back without stepping away. You don't avoid life. You simply stop letting it toss you around. From that elevated perspective you see more clearly. You respond more wisely. You move more intentionally. You become the calm observer, steady, focused, in control. A story. The CEO who stopped reacting. A CEO once shared how detachment changed his leadership. He used to react emotionally to every crisis, every lost deal, every mistake, every piece of bad news. His stress levels were through the roof. His team feared his reactions more than the problems themselves. One day, his mentor told him something that changed everything. You can't lead if you're always inside the storm. Step outside it, watch it, then lead from there. He started practicing emotional detachment. Before responding to any issue, he would pause, breathe, and imagine himself watching from above, as if the problem was a scene in a movie. Within weeks his clarity improved. His team started trusting him more. The chaos didn't go away, but it no longer controlled him. He didn't become distant. He became decisive. That's what detachment does. It doesn't make you less human. It makes you a stronger one. Detachment and dominance. Detachment creates dominance, not over others, but over your state of mind. When you detach, no insult can shake you, no failure can define you, no chaos can consume you. People often confuse dominance with aggression, but dominance isn't about control through force. It's control through calm. It's the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need to prove anything, someone who knows their value doesn't rise or fall with outcomes. You become unshakable because your peace is internal, not conditional. This is the mindset of those who lead under pressure, the entrepreneurs who don't panic when markets shift, the athletes who perform when the crowd screams, the individuals who thrive where others freeze. They've trained themselves to detach from emotion and focus on execution. They don't chase feelings, they chase truth. How to practice healthy detachment. Step 1. Accept what you can't control. You can't control outcomes. You can't control people. You can only control your effort, attitude and response. Once you accept that, peace begins. Step 2. Reframe attachment. Instead of saying, "I need this to be happy," say, "I'd prefer this, but I'll remain calm either way." It sounds simple, but it changes your energy completely. Step 3. Observe. Don't absorb. When emotions rise, imagine yourself stepping outside the moment. See the situation as if you're watching someone else handle it. This mental distance gives you clarity and power. Step 4. Focus on internal validation. Stop chasing approval. Your peace should not depend on praise. Remind yourself, my worth is not up for debate. When you live by this mindset, outside opinions lose their grip. The freedom of detachment. Detachment gives you space. Space to think. Space to breathe. Space to lead. Without it, emotions run your life. With it you choose how to live. You begin to notice how much energy you once wasted on things you couldn't change. You realize how often your peace depended on things that never truly mattered. Detachment frees you from that. It's emotional minimalism, removing the clutter so your mind can focus on what matters. The less you cling to, the more you can control. The calmer you stay, the stronger you become. Dominance, through composure. There's a quiet kind of dominance that comes with calm. It's not loud. It doesn't compete. It doesn't demand attention. It simply exists, confident, centered, and steady. When others lose their temper, you stay composed. When they panic, you remain patient. When they push for reaction, you stay unbothered. That's power. The kind that can't be faked. The kind that commands respect without saying a word. Your calm becomes your authority. Your detachment becomes your weapon. And through that, you gain dominance. Not through control of others, but through complete control of yourself. Final thoughts. Detachment is not about losing passion. It's about losing panic. It's not about giving up emotion. It's about guiding it with discipline. When you detach from outcomes, you move with purpose, not pressure. When you detach from emotion, you see with truth, not fear. And when you master detachment, you step into a level of calm that few ever experience. You no longer chase control. You become it. You no longer seek dominance. You embody it. The world will still move fast. People will still test you. But you'll move through it all, calm, focused, untouchable, because nothing is more powerful than a person who has nothing to prove, nothing to fear, and nothing to lose within themselves. Stay detached, stay calm, stay dangerous. Chapter 8. Turning pain into power. Pain is a teacher. It's not pleasant. It's not gentle, but it's honest. It doesn't lie to you. It doesn't flatter you. It shows you the truth about who you are, what you value, and how strong you can become. Most people run from pain. They see it as punishment. But those who understand growth see it differently. Pain is not your enemy. It's your signal. It's life trying to get your attention. When you learn to stop fighting it and start listening to it, everything changes. Because every great transformation begins with discomfort. The nature of pain. Pain comes in many forms. Sometimes it's physical. Sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes it's the quiet ache of disappointment, or the sharp sting of rejection. It can come from loss, from failure, or from fear. But here's the truth. Pain always carries a message. It's there to guide you, not destroy you. It's there to show you what needs to heal, what needs to change, and what needs to be released. The problem isn't pain itself. It's how we interpret it. When you resist pain, you suffer. When you face it, you grow. A story. The broken athlete. There's a story about a young athlete who shattered his leg just weeks before the biggest competition of his career. He spent months in recovery, filled with anger and regret. He thought his dream was over. But something shifted. During his recovery, he started studying sports psychology and leadership. He began coaching other athletes. He started seeing strength in a new way, not as physical power, but as mental resilience. When he finally returned to competition, he wasn't the same. He was better, calmer, wiser. He said something powerful in an interview. The injury broke my leg, but it built my mind. That's the power of pain. It can destroy you, or it can define you. The choice is always yours. Pain and perspective. Pain changes how you see the world. It strips away illusions. It humbles you. It makes you aware of what truly matters. Before pain, you think strength means never falling. After pain, you realize strength means standing back up. Before pain, you think success means control. After pain, you learn success means adaptation. Pain gives you perspective that peace never could. Because comfort teaches little. But pain teaches truth. The emotional energy of pain. Emotions carry energy. And pain holds a tremendous amount of it. Think about anger, frustration, loss. All of them are pure energy, waiting to be directed. If you suppress that energy, it turns into bitterness. If you express it blindly, it turns into destruction. But if you channel it, it becomes fuel. That's the art of turning pain into power, taking raw emotion and refining it into purpose. When you convert pain into drive, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of it. You start using it as motivation. Every setback becomes a spark. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every wound becomes wisdom. The choice in the middle of pain. In the middle of pain, there's always a moment of choice. It's small, but it's everything. You can either ask, why me? Or you can ask, what now? Why me? Keeps you stuck in the story. What now? Moves you forward. Every person who's ever turned their life around has faced that choice. They didn't wait for the pain to disappear. They decided to rise while it still hurt. Because healing isn't about feeling ready. It's about choosing progress over pity. How to transform pain into strength. Step 1. Feel it. You can't heal what you refuse to feel. Don't suppress your pain. Acknowledge it. Sit with it. Let it speak. Pain often says, pay attention. It's not there to break you. It's there to show you what needs to be understood. Step 2. Find the lesson. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? What truth is hiding behind this discomfort? There's always a lesson, if you're willing to look for it. Step 3. Redirect the energy. Use pain as a signal to act. Channel it into improvement, creativity, discipline, or purpose. Let it push you to grow, rather than pull you down. Step 4. Forgive and release. Holding on to pain gives it power. Releasing it gives you power. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from the weight of it. That's how pain becomes fuel for transformation. Pain and emotional control. Emotional control doesn't mean you never feel pain. It means you guide it with intention. You feel it fully, but you don't drown in it. You cry, but you don't collapse. You bend, but you don't break. Controlled emotion is strength refined. It's fire with direction. And that's what separates those who crumble from those who rise. Not the absence of pain, but the mastery of it. Pain as proof of growth. Pain is not a sign that you're weak. It's proof that you're evolving. Every time you push your limits, you'll feel it. Every time you break an old pattern, it will hurt. Growth always requires discomfort. Muscles grow by tearing and rebuilding. The same is true for your mind. The same is true for your heart. Pain means something inside you is being restructured, reshaped into a stronger version of you. So instead of saying I'm in pain, try saying I'm in progress. A quiet kind of power. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are the ones who've suffered the most. Not because they avoided pain, but because they learned how to walk through it without losing themselves. They carry calm in their voice and confidence in their eyes. They no longer need to prove anything, because they've already fought battles no one else could see and won. That's the kind of strength pain gives you when you stop running from it. Final thoughts. Pain is not here to punish you. It's here to prepare you. It's here to remind you that growth has a cost, and that cost is discomfort. But that discomfort builds character. It builds empathy. It builds resilience. You can let pain control you, or you can let it create you. The difference lies in how you respond to it. When you stop seeing pain as the end, and start seeing it as the beginning of something greater, you unlock a level of strength most people never reach. So the next time pain visits, don't hide from it. Face it, feel it, then rise from it. Because pain, when mastered, becomes power. Stay strong, stay calm, stay dangerous. Chapter 9. The Warrior's Mindset. The calmest person in the room is often the most powerful. Not because they have no fear, but because they've learned how to master it. That's the essence of the warrior's mindset. It's not about fighting others. It's about conquering yourself. The warrior is disciplined, not because it's easy, but because chaos without structure destroys potential. They don't seek comfort. They seek clarity. They train their mind to stay calm when everything around them burns. The warrior's strength doesn't come from aggression. It comes from awareness. They know when to act, when to wait, and when to walk away. That balance between control and courage is what makes them unstoppable. The inner battlefield. Every day, you step into a battlefield, not with enemies outside, but with thoughts, doubts, and distractions inside. One voice tells you to give up. Another whispers to keep going. The real battle isn't physical, it's mental. The warrior knows this. They understand that the mind can be a weapon or a weakness, and that weapon must be sharpened daily. They don't fight for victory once. They fight for mastery every day. In silence, in routine, in consistency. While others look for motivation, the warrior builds discipline. While others chase excitement, the warrior trains commitment. Because emotion fades, but principle endures. The discipline of calm true warriors moves slowly inside. Even when they act fast outside, they breathe through conflict. They pause before reacting. They listen before speaking. That inner stillness is their edge. They know that calm is not weakness. It's readiness. It's the ability to stay collected when others crumble. The more chaos around them, the calmer they become, because they've learned something powerful. When you control your emotions, you control the outcome. A story. The samurai's lesson. A story is told of a samurai who was insulted by a young warrior. The samurai stood silently as the insults continued. When asked why he didn't respond, he said, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse it, who does it belong to?" They answered, "It still belongs to the giver." He smiled. "Exactly. I choose not to accept his anger, so it stays with him." That's emotional mastery in motion. The warrior's calm is not indifference. It's intelligence. It's the understanding that reacting to every provocation gives away your power. A true warrior never fights battles that don't matter. They conserve energy for the ones that do. The power of preparation. The warrior's mindset is built before the battle, not during it. You can't wait for chaos to practice calm. You must build it in peace so you can use it in war. That's why daily habits matter. Meditation, discipline, routine, training. Each one is not about perfection. It's about presence. They prepare the mind for the moments when pressure hits. Because when stress rises, the body reverts to training. And if your training is calm, your reaction will be calm. That's how you maintain control under pressure. Not through luck but through preparation. The warrior's relationship with fear. Fear is a constant companion on the path of strength. The warrior doesn't ignore it. They study it. They understand it. Fear is not weakness. It's information. It tells you where you need to grow. It shows you what still holds power over you. Most people run from fear. The warrior walks toward it. They face it until it loses control over their actions. When you make peace with fear, you remove its teeth. It becomes a signal instead of a threat. That's emotional control in its purest form. To feel fear, yet move forward anyway. Control, not suppression. The warrior mindset is not about burying emotion. It's about balancing it. You can feel anger, but not let anger lead. You can feel pain, but not let pain stop you. You can feel doubt, but not let doubt decide. Every emotion has energy, and the warrior channels that energy toward purpose. They don't waste emotion. They refine it. They don't deny emotion. They direct it. That's why calm warriors are so dangerous. Their power isn't chaotic. It's controlled. It's focused. It's deliberate. How to build the warrior's mindset. Step 1. Strengthen your discipline. Do what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. Discipline builds mental armor. Step 2. Practice stillness. Create quiet moments daily. No distractions. No noise. Learn to be at peace in silence. That's where control begins. Step 3. Train emotional awareness. Notice how your emotions rise and fall. Study them without judgment. Awareness turns reaction into mastery. Step 4. Embrace challenge. Seek difficulty on purpose. Growth requires resistance. Each time you face struggle with composure, you strengthen your mind. The warrior's edge is not born in comfort. It's built in adversity, a mindset of purpose. Every warrior lives by a code, a set of values that guide decisions. Honor, discipline, integrity, focus. When you know what you stand for, chaos can't sway you. When you live by principle, you don't need constant motivation. You have direction. The warrior doesn't ask what feels good. They ask what's right. Because emotion shifts with the wind, but purpose anchors the soul. Composure as command. The modern world rewards reaction. But real leaders, real warriors, respond with intention. They don't shout to prove control. They show calmness and presence. Even when the room burns around them, their silence holds authority. Their patience commands attention. Their restraint creates respect. Composure is command. It's how warriors lead, not by force but by example. The warrior's peace. The ultimate goal of the warrior is not victory, it's peace. Not the kind of peace that avoids battle, but the kind that remains unbroken in the middle of one. When you reach that level of calm, you stop seeking control, because you've already become it. Your emotions obey your direction. Your actions align with your values. Your energy moves with purpose. That's emotional mastery. That's the warrior's mindset. Final thoughts. The warrior's path is not about constant battle. It's about constant awareness. It's not about being fearless. It's about moving with fear under control. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally intelligent. The warrior's mindset is built on calm discipline, on patience, on precision, on purpose. When you live with that mindset, chaos loses its grip on you. You become unshakable. You become centered. You become powerful. So wherever you go, walk like a warrior. Move with peace. Speak with control. Act with intention. And remember, calm is your armor. Discipline is your weapon. And awareness is your victory. Stay focused. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Chapter 10. The Art of Silent Power. Real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need validation. It moves quietly. It influences deeply. And it leaves an impression that words can't match. That's silent power. The strength that doesn't demand attention, but commands it naturally. It's the presence that walks into a room and changes the atmosphere. It's the person who speaks less, but says more. It's the calm confidence that makes noise unnecessary. Because true strength doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. The noise of the world we live in, a loud world. Everyone is talking. Everyone is performing. Everyone is trying to be seen, heard and validated. But the more noise there is, the more valuable silence becomes. In a world that rewards reaction, the quiet person holds the advantage. They listen longer. They observe deeper. They respond with purpose instead of panic. While others waste energy proving their worth, the calm person conserves it and uses it where it matters. That's why silence is power. It creates focus, clarity, and mystery. It draws people in instead of pushing energy out. The calm presence, you can feel it. When someone carries silent power, they don't rush. They don't over-explain. They don't need to win every argument. They know who they are, and that's enough. Their calm becomes contagious. Their composure commands respect. Their silence speaks louder than 1,000 words. It's not arrogance. It's certainty. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're in control of yourself. People may not understand it, but they feel it, and they remember it. A story. The unspoken leader. In one company meeting, tension filled the room. Voices rose. Opinions clashed. Everyone was fighting to be heard, except for one person, the director sitting at the head of the table. He listened. He took notes. He said nothing for nearly half an hour. Then when the room finally fell silent, he spoke just one sentence. And in that moment, everything shifted. The team agreed. The decision was made. Afterward, someone asked him why he waited so long to speak. He smiled and said, "When everyone's talking, nobody's thinking. I prefer to speak once thinking is done." That's silent power. Authority through composure. Influence through restraint. He didn't control the room by raising his voice. He controlled it by mastering his presence. The psychology of quiet strength. Silence creates space. And in that space people project meaning. When you speak less, others listen more carefully. They start to pay attention to your tone, your posture, your energy. This is why calm people often feel powerful, because their silence demands focus. When you stop reacting, people notice. When you stop explaining yourself, they start wondering why. When you stop chasing attention, it finds you instead. That's the paradox of power. The less you seek it, the more you project it. Stillness is a strategy. Silence is not passive. It's strategic. It gives you time to think. It gives others time to reveal themselves. It turns chaos into clarity. When you stay quiet, you see patterns others miss. You notice motives. You read emotions. You learn faster. The loud mind reacts. The quiet mind understands. Stillness lets you see the truth beneath the noise, and that truth gives you the upper hand in every situation. How to cultivate silent power. Step 1. Speak with intention. Don't speak to fill silence. Speak to add value. Before you respond, ask yourself, is this necessary? Is this helpful? Is this true? Fewer words, more impact. Step 2. Listen deeply. Don't just hear. Understand. Listening is a superpower in a distracted world. It reveals more than speaking ever could. Step 3. Control your energy. Don't mirror chaos. Maintain your calm even when others lose theirs. Your composure will unsettle the unbalanced and inspire the grounded. Step 4. Let actions speak. Words fade. Results remain. The most powerful people don't promise. They perform. Let your work become your statement. The strength of restraint. Restraint is misunderstood. People think holding back means weakness. But restraint is a higher form of power. The discipline to act only when needed. Anyone can react instantly. It takes real control to wait, to watch, to choose your timing. The greatest warriors and thinkers understood this. They didn't move first. They moved right. Because power wasted in haste is power lost forever. Your silence, your patience, your ability to wait until the right moment, that's where dominance lives. Silent power in relationships. Silent power also transforms how you deal with people. When you stay calm, you disarm anger. When you stay silent, you diffuse drama. When you respond with presence, you shift energy. You no longer need to prove your point every time. You no longer let emotion drag you into pointless conflict. Instead, you stay centered. You stay composed. And that composure earns trust, not fear, but respect. Because people remember how you make them feel. And calmness always feels safe, stable and strong. A modern example. Think of the leaders, mentors or figures you admire most. They rarely shout. They rarely rush. They rarely need to remind you of their authority. Their quiet confidence says it for them. They walk in silence, but their presence speaks volumes. They move with intention, not noise. They lead by example, not ego. That's what silent power looks like. Humility with impact. Confidence with calm. When silence speaks in many ways. It says, I'm in control. It says, I don't need to prove myself. It says, I choose peace over performance. And that message, unspoken, steady and powerful, echoes louder than any speech ever could. Because silence, when backed by strength, becomes presence. And presence is what people remember long after words are forgotten. Final thoughts. Power that depends on noise fades quickly. But silent power endures. It doesn't drain you. It doesn't seek attention. It simply exists. Calm, steady and unshakable. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to react to prove strength. You don't need to fight every battle to win the war. True mastery is quiet. True confidence is calm. True strength moves in silence. So let the world be loud. Let others seek validation in noise. You stay grounded. Speak less. Do more. Move with intention. Because the calmest force in the room is always the most dangerous one. Stay quiet. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Chapter 11. The balance between heart and mind. Power without empathy is cold. Empathy without discipline is chaos. The key to emotional control lies between the two. A steady balance between heart and mind. The mind gives logic, reason and order. The heart gives compassion, courage and connection. When one dominates the other, life loses balance. When they work together, you become unstoppable. The calm person knows this truth. You don't have to choose between emotion and logic. You can merge them, feel deeply, and still act wisely. That is the balance every strong person learns to master. When the heart leads alone, the heart is powerful. It drives love, passion, creativity, and purpose. It pushes you to take risks, to care, to dream big. But when emotion runs without guidance, it can lead to chaos. The heart acts in the moment. It reacts to how things feel, not always how they are. When the heart leads alone, decisions become impulsive. You forgive too quickly. You trust too easily. You chase people or things that don't serve your growth. You end up exhausted, because emotion without structure burns fast. Feeling is beautiful, but feeling without thinking can destroy what matters most. When the mind leads alone, the mind is precise. It analyzes. It plans. It protects. It can calculate every risk, but sometimes forgets the human side of life. When the mind leads without the heart, you become detached, cold, efficient but empty. You start seeing people as problems to fix, not souls to understand. You may gain control, but lose connection. You may build success but feel nothing inside it. The mind can protect you from pain, but it can also protect you from joy. That's why mastery doesn't mean silencing emotion. It means guiding it. You don't want a life ruled by logic or emotion. You want a life led by wisdom, where both move in harmony. The dance of emotion and reason. Think of your heart and mind as dance partners. When they move together, life flows. When one steps out of rhythm, everything stumbles. Emotion gives movement. Logic gives direction. Emotion provides meaning. Logic provides clarity. You need both to lead a balanced life. Emotion makes you human. Logic makes you wise. And together they make you powerful. A story. The doctor's decision. A young doctor once faced an impossible choice. He had two patients, both critical, both in need of the same limited resource. His heart wanted to save the younger one. His mind reminded him of medical priority and fairness. He paused. He breathed. He chose based on reason, but he stayed with the family of the one he couldn't save, comforting them through the pain. He didn't ignore emotion. He guided it. That's balance. To think clearly and still care deeply. To act wisely, but never without humanity. Why balance creates control. When your heart and mind are aligned, you make decisions that last. You don't react. You respond. You don't suppress. You understand. Your mind protects your boundaries. Your heart preserves your empathy. Together they create emotional maturity. A calm strength that people can feel. You stop living in extremes. You stop being too emotional or too cold. You become stable, firm but kind, disciplined but compassionate. That's real control. How to balance heart and mind. Step 1. Feel first, think next. When emotion hits, don't rush to suppress it. Acknowledge what you feel, then let your mind interpret it. Emotion shows what matters. Logic shows what to do next. Step 2. Ask balanced questions. Instead of asking, "How do I feel?" or "What's logical?" ask both, "What feels right?" and "What makes sense?" The answer will often lie where the two overlap. Step 3. Practice emotional awareness. Notice when your feelings are leading too strongly. Notice when your logic is blocking connection. Adjust gently. Neither is the enemy. Both are tools. Step 4. Pause. Before you decide. The pause brings balance. It allows emotion to settle and reason to rise. It creates the space where both can be heard. The strength of compassionate control. Calm doesn't mean distant. You can be strong and still gentle. You can be disciplined and still kind. The balance between heart and mind allows you to handle conflict with empathy and clarity. You can say no with compassion. You can forgive without forgetting. You can lead without controlling. The calm leader doesn't suppress their heart. They simply teach it to work with reason. That's emotional intelligence. Not choosing one side, but harmonizing both. The energy of alignment. When your emotions and thoughts are aligned, your actions become powerful. There's no internal war. No push and pull between impulse and logic. You move with conviction because every part of you agrees. That kind of alignment creates peace. It builds focus. It makes you magnetic, because people feel that harmony in your presence. They sense your stability. They trust your calm. They follow your lead. Balance within creates influence without. A modern reflection. We live in extremes. People either think too much or feel too much. They either overanalyze or overreact. The rare ones, the calm, balanced, composed, they rise above both, because they've learned that intelligence without empathy is hollow, and empathy without discipline is blind. The goal isn't to choose between heart and mind. It's to unite them, so they move as one. Final thoughts. The mind is your compass. The heart is your fire. One guides your path. The other fuels your journey. Together they create balance. The kind of balance that turns chaos into clarity. So lead with your heart, but let your mind hold the map. Feel deeply, think wisely, act calmly. That's how you live with emotional power. Not as a machine, not as a slave to feelings, but as a master of both. Because when the heart and mind move together, your life moves forward, with peace, precision and purpose. Stay balanced. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Chapter 12. Emotional control in relationships. The real test of emotional control doesn't happen in solitude. It happens in connection. It's easy to stay calm when you're alone, but in relationships, where emotions run deep, where love meets ego, where patience meets pressure, that's where true control is revealed. Because relationships are emotional mirrors. They reflect not just who the other person is, but who you are beneath your calm surface. Why relationships test control in relationships. Emotions multiply. Every word matters. Every reaction carries weight. Love makes you vulnerable. Vulnerability makes you reactive. One misunderstanding can ignite anger. One silence can trigger fear. One careless comment can reopen old wounds. You can be disciplined in work, focused in goals, calm under pressure, and still lose control in an argument with someone you care about. Why? Because love amplifies emotion, and where emotion grows, control is tested. That's why mastering emotional control in relationships isn't about distance. It's about direction. It's learning how to feel fully without reacting recklessly. The power of awareness. Awareness is the foundation of every healthy relationship. You can't control another person, only yourself. Emotional control begins when you stop trying to win the argument and start trying to understand the emotion behind it. Instead of asking, "What did they say?" ask what made them feel that way. Instead of reacting to tone, listen for truth. Awareness creates understanding, and understanding builds connection. The goal is not to avoid emotion. It's to navigate it, calmly, compassionately, consciously. A story. The two conversations. There's a story about a couple who argued constantly. No matter what they said, it always turned into conflict. One day, they visited a counselor. The counselor said, "You're not having one conversation, you're having two." "What do you mean?" they asked. He replied, "One of you is arguing with words, the other is arguing with emotions." And that was the truth. Most relationship conflicts are not about logic. They're about emotion trying to be seen. You can win the argument and still lose the person, or you can learn to hear the emotion behind the words and win peace instead. Responding, not reacting in moments of tension. Your first reaction is usually emotional. Your voice rises, your defenses engage, your pride takes over. But if you can pause, even for a few seconds, everything changes. That pause allows empathy to enter. It gives your higher self time to respond instead of your ego. You can choose to listen instead of attack. You can choose to breathe instead of blame. You can choose to resolve instead of react. That single pause can save relationships, because once words of anger are spoken, they can't be taken back. But words spoken from calm awareness can heal instead of harm. Emotional triggers in connection. Every person brings emotional history into their relationships. Old wounds, old fears, old habits. A harsh tone might remind you of rejection. A delay in reply might remind you of being ignored. A disagreement might trigger memories of disrespect. When you're unaware of these triggers, you project them onto your partner. You think they're the problem, when it's actually your past speaking. Emotional control means recognizing when the reaction is about them and when it's really about you. Awareness turns blame into growth. It turns conflict into understanding. The calm communicator. The calm communicator doesn't rush to defend or attack. They observe. They breathe. They choose words carefully. They speak from truth, not from tension. They listen to understand, not to reply. And because of that, their presence disarms defensiveness. The calm communicator doesn't fight to be right. They fight to keep respect, because in any relationship, once respect is lost, no amount of logic can bring peace. You can be passionate without being loud. You can be assertive without being aggressive. You can disagree without disrespect. That's emotional maturity. Love and boundaries. Emotional control isn't about silence. It's about structure. It's knowing where your emotions end and where your values begin. Boundaries are not walls. They're clarity. They protect your peace while allowing connection to grow. Without boundaries, emotions take over. You end up saying yes when you mean no. You tolerate disrespect to avoid conflict. You lose yourself trying to keep someone else. But when you set boundaries calmly and consistently, you teach others how to treat you, not with fear, but with respect. Boundaries are a form of love. Love for yourself and for the relationship. Because chaos doesn't build connection, clarity does. How to practice emotional control in relationships. Step 1. Pause before you respond. When emotions rise, breathe. Give yourself time to calm the storm inside before speaking. Step 2. Listen to understand. Instead of focusing on what to say next, listen for what the other person truly feels. Often they're not asking for answers. They're asking to be understood. Step 3. Communicate with calm honesty. Speak truthfully, but gently. Say what you mean, but don't say it with anger. The right tone can turn conflict into connection. Step 4. Protect your energy. Don't get pulled into emotional chaos. Stay centered, even if others lose balance. Your calm is your contribution to peace. A lesson from silence. Sometimes the best response is none at all. Not because you don't care, but because not every emotion deserves your reaction. Silence used wisely is not withdrawal, it's control. When emotions are high, words can be weapons, but silence can be healing. It gives space for reflection. It turns argument into awareness. The strongest people don't speak to prove control. They stay silent to preserve it. Calm is connection. When you're calm, you create safety, and safety builds trust. Your calm tells others, it's safe to speak here. It's safe to feel here. That's what emotional control truly means in relationships. Not suppressing feeling, but creating an environment where feeling can exist without destruction. The calm person doesn't dominate the relationship. They elevate it. They don't control emotions. They guide them, and that guidance turns chaos into understanding, and love into growth. Final thoughts. Emotional control in relationships isn't about perfection. It's about presence. You will still feel anger, sadness and fear, but instead of letting them lead, you'll let them teach. The goal is not to remove emotion, it's to refine it, to feel fully, but express wisely. Because the strongest love is calm, the deepest connection is built on emotional safety, and the truest form of control is understanding. So speak with kindness, listen with patience, respond with peace, and remember, your calm doesn't make you distant, it makes you dependable. Stay patient, stay calm, stay dangerous. Chapter 13. Leading with composure. Leadership isn't about control, it's about composure, because when things fall apart, people don't look for the loudest voice, they look for the calmest presence. Anyone can lead when the road is smooth, but true leadership is tested in turbulence, and in those moments, the one who stays composed becomes the one others trust. The calm that commands respect. Composure doesn't come from authority, it comes from self-mastery. A calm leader doesn't demand respect, they earn it through steadiness. They don't need to dominate the room, they steady it. They don't panic when things go wrong, they focus when others freeze. Their confidence doesn't shout, it radiates. Because when chaos rises, composure becomes contagious. The leader's calm becomes the team's anchor. And in that stability, solutions emerge. A story. The fire chief. Years ago, a fire chief responded to a massive industrial blaze. The scene was chaos. Smoke, shouting, confusion everywhere. His team looked to him, waiting for orders. He stood still for 5 seconds. Just 5. He scanned the scene, took a breath, and then gave calm, clear instructions. Those few seconds changed everything. The fire was controlled faster. His crew moved with precision. No one panicked, because he didn't. Later, one firefighter said, "When he's calm, we're calm." That's leadership. Not in words, in presence. The energy you bring as a leader. Your energy sets the tone. Your emotions ripple through every person you lead. If you're anxious, your team feels it. If you're frustrated, they mirror it. But if you're composed, They find their footing in your steadiness. Leadership isn't about always knowing the answer. It's about staying clear enough to find it. When you remain grounded, you remind people that chaos can be managed, not through control, but through calm direction. That's what emotional control gives you. The power to steady others by mastering yourself. Composure in crisis. In moments of crisis, pressure compresses perception. People start reacting instead of reasoning. Fear becomes louder than logic. But composure restores clarity. It doesn't ignore fear. It neutralizes it. It doesn't rush decisions. It sharpens them. The calm leader breathes, observes, and then acts, not slowly, deliberately. They don't let urgency steal precision. They understand that panic speeds you up, but it doesn't move you forward. In a world addicted to speed, the composed leader wins with focus. Leading the emotional climate. Leadership is not just about strategy. It's about emotional climate. People don't remember every word you say, but they remember how you made them feel when things went wrong. When you keep your composure, you create emotional safety, and emotional safety fuels performance. A calm environment invites clear thinking. A tense one suffocates it. That's why composure is not optional. It's essential. It allows creativity to breathe and collaboration to grow. The leader who controls the emotional tone controls the outcome. The difference between control and composure. Control tries to force order. Composure creates it. Control says, "Do it my way." Composure says, "Let's find the best way." Control relies on fear. Composure inspires confidence. Control reacts to problems. Composure responds to possibilities. One drains energy, the other restores it. When people feel controlled, they resist. When they feel composed leadership, they rise. Because composure builds trust, and trust builds everything. The power of the calm voice in times of tension. Your voice becomes your weapon, or your wisdom. A calm voice cuts through panic. It grounds the moment. The calm leader knows how to use tone. Steady, measured, intentional. They speak less but say more. They don't fill silence with noise. They fill it with confidence. Their voice becomes a guidepost when everything else feels uncertain. You can tell how much control a person truly has by how they sound when pressure hits. Because words spoken from calmness create direction. Words spoken from fear create confusion. How to lead with composure. Step 1. Control your inner state. Before leading others, lead yourself. Ground your breathing. Slow your thoughts. Remind yourself, "I can handle this," because your inner calm becomes your outer strength. Step 2. Respond. Don't react. When things go wrong, resist the urge to fix everything instantly. Pause. Assess. Respond with clarity instead of emotion. Step 3. Protect the energy. Don't let negativity spread through your team. Stay composed even when others aren't. Your steadiness will reset the emotional tone. Step 4. Lead by example. People learn calm by watching it. Be the model of control under pressure. Show them what strength looks like in silence, not just in speech. A story. The ship captain. A captain once said, "In a storm, my job is not to fight the sea, it's to steer the ship." When waves crashed, he didn't yell orders. He gave them slowly, one at a time. His crew said that his calmness made them believe they could survive anything. He knew something most don't. The ocean doesn't listen to noise. It listens to navigation. Life works the same way. Panic doesn't move you forward. Presence does. The leader who can keep composure in the storm is the one who gets everyone safely through it. The calm leader's legacy. People forget titles. They forget rules. but they never forget how a calm leader made them feel in chaos. Composure leaves a mark. It's remembered in moments of crisis, respected in moments of doubt, and replicated by those who were guided through it. The calm leader creates more calm leaders. That's how strength spreads, not through force but through example. Final thoughts. Leadership is not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about having the emotional control to stay steady when everyone else is shaking. True leaders don't react. They respond. They don't panic. They plan. They don't shout. They steer. And through their composure, they give others courage. So lead quietly. Lead wisely. Lead with calm that commands respect. Because composure isn't the absence of emotion. It's the mastery of it. The world doesn't need louder leaders. It needs steadier ones. Be that presence. Be that anchor. Be that calm in the storm. Stay steady. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Chapter 14. The dangerous calm. There's a kind of calm that isn't peaceful. It's powerful. It's the quiet that comes after chaos. The stillness that follows struggle. The silence that hides strength. That's the dangerous calm. It's not the calm of weakness or avoidance. It's the calm of awareness. The kind that knows what it's capable of, but chooses restraint. This calm doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to prove anything, because it already knows its power. The calm after control. Most people think calmness means softness. They see patience and assume passivity. But dangerous calm is different. It's not the calm of surrender. It's the calm of command. You've mastered your emotions. You've faced your fears. You've walked through pain and didn't break. And now you don't react to noise. Because you've already fought the inner battles that noise tries to start. That's the difference. You're not avoiding the storm. You've simply learned how to move through it without losing your balance. What makes calm dangerous? Calm becomes dangerous when it's backed by control. It's dangerous because people can't predict it. They can't manipulate it. They can't provoke it. The person who can stay calm in chaos holds the real power, because everyone else depends on reaction. Anger is predictable. Fear is readable. But calm is mysterious. It unsettles those who seek control through conflict. It frustrates those who live off reaction. It silences those who use emotion as a weapon. The dangerous calm is untouchable, not because it hides, but because it refuses to be moved. A story. The duel that never happened in ancient times. Two warriors were challenged to a duel. One was known for his rage. Fierce, loud, unpredictable. The other, silent and composed. When the day came, the angry warrior shouted insults. He circled, trying to provoke his opponent. But the calm warrior didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't respond. Minutes passed. The crowd grew uneasy. Finally, the furious warrior dropped his sword and walked away, muttering, "I can't fight a man who isn't afraid." That duel was never fought, but it was won. That's the dangerous calm, the kind of strength that defeats chaos without even engaging it. The power of emotional stillness. Calmness is not silence of the world. It's silence of the mind. It's knowing you could react, but choosing not to. It's knowing you could fight, but knowing when not to. Emotional stillness is rare. It takes years to build. But once you have it, it changes how you move through life. You no longer overreact to insults. You no longer chase validation. You no longer lose sleep over things you can't control. Instead, you move through challenges like water, smooth, deliberate, and unstoppable. Nothing sticks. Nothing shakes you. You adapt. You flow. You rise. That's the mark of dangerous calm. Motion without noise. Calm is control. Calm is control disguised as peace. It's control over your thoughts, your reactions, your presence. The calm person can walk into conflict and bring clarity. They can enter chaos and bring order. They can face hostility and remain centered. Because calm doesn't mean emotionless. It means emotionally disciplined. You've mastered the art of the pause. You've learned to think before you speak, to act before you panic, to lead before you react. That's power most people never reach, because while they're busy reacting, you're busy observing, and the observer always has the advantage. Calm as influence. Calm changes energy. It influences without forcing. When you stay calm in heated moments, you guide others toward it. Your stillness becomes a mirror. It reminds people of what real strength looks like. You don't need to win every argument. You just need to keep your balance. Because composure wins what emotion can't. The more you master calm, the more people trust your presence. They sense that no matter what happens, you won't fold. You won't lash out. You won't lose yourself. That's power, not the kind you take. The kind people willingly give you. Calm and precision. The dangerous calm doesn't move slower. It moves smarter. When emotion controls you, you waste energy. When calm guides you, every move counts. A calm mind sees opportunities hidden in chaos. It acts when others freeze. It responds when others overreact. That's why calm people often seem lucky. They're not lucky. They're precise. They don't spend energy fighting storms. They wait, observe, and move when the moment is right. That's how calm wins. Not through speed, but through accuracy. The unshakable mindset. When you reach dangerous calm, the world changes, not because it becomes easier, but because you do. You realize that most problems aren't problems. They're emotional triggers, disguised as crises. You stop chasing peace. You become it. You stop reacting to life. You start directing it. You stop defending yourself. You simply stand in truth. And that unshakable stillness, that is what makes you dangerous. How to cultivate dangerous calm. Step 1. Master the inner reaction. When something upsets you, don't move. Don't speak. Breathe. Control begins in silence. Step 2. Observe emotion like weather. You can't stop emotions from coming, but you can choose not to stand in the rain. Watch them pass. Stay dry. Step 3. Choose intention over impulse. Always ask yourself, will this reaction help or harm me? The answer is usually clear, if you give yourself the time to ask. Step 4. Protect your energy. Not every fight deserves your fire. Some are meant to test your calm, not your courage. Win by walking away. Still grounded. Still composed. That's how calm becomes your shield and your strength. The calm that commands people can feel when you've mastered calm. It's in your tone, your posture, your eyes. You no longer chase control. You embody it. You don't overpromise. You don't over-explain. You don't overreact. And that silence, that steady presence, commands more respect than force ever could. You've learned to control the only thing that truly matters, yourself. And in doing so, you've gained power over everything else. Final thoughts. The dangerous calm isn't about being unfeeling. It's about being unshakable. It's knowing your emotions, understanding them but never being ruled by them. It's the quiet strength of the one who has faced the storm and now walks with peace as their armor. That calm is dangerous because it can't be manipulated, provoked or broken. You've learned to respond instead of react, to act with clarity instead of chaos, to move with peace instead of panic. And now, your calm is no longer just control, it's command. Because the person who stays calm when the world loses its mind is the one who leads it. Stay calm, stay powerful, stay dangerous. Conclusion. Stay calm, stay dangerous. You've reached the end of this journey, but emotional control has no end. It's not a skill you master once, it's a practice, a discipline, a daily decision. Every moment offers a choice, to react, or to rise, to be consumed by the storm, or to become the calm within it. And in those choices, your power is built. The journey you've taken, you began by learning the hidden power of staying calm. You discovered the triggers that control your reactions. You met the enemy within, the voice of fear and resistance. You learned the pause that builds power. You mastered the art of response. You faced pressure and found peace under it. You learned detachment and found dominance. You turned pain into power. You built the mindset of a warrior. You discovered the art of silent power. You balanced your heart and mind. You brought emotional control into your relationships. And you learned to lead with composure. Each chapter was a step. Each step built strength. Each lesson shaped calm. You're not just learning to control emotion. You're learning to own yourself. Because once you control yourself, no one else can control you. What emotional control truly means. Emotional control isn't about pretending to be unaffected. It's not about burying emotion under logic. It's about presence. It's about knowing what you feel, but deciding how to express it. It's the strength to stay kind in anger, the patience to stay still in chaos, the wisdom to stay centered when everything tries to pull you apart. That's emotional mastery, not the absence of emotion, but the harmony of it. The power you now hold, the calm you've built, is not just peace, it's power. Because calm gives you clarity, clarity gives you control, and control gives you freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from reaction, freedom from other people's chaos. You've learned that calmness doesn't make you soft. It makes you strategic. It makes you precise. It makes you strong in ways that emotion never could. Your silence now speaks. Your restraint now commands. Your awareness now leads. You are no longer pulled by the noise of the world. You move through it. Steady, focused, deliberate. That is dangerous calm. Not to harm but to command. Not to dominate, but to lead. Not to avoid, but to rise. The ongoing battle, make no mistake. This battle never ends. Every day, emotion will test you. Fear will whisper, anger will tempt, pride will provoke, and every day you'll have the same choice, to react or to remain. The real mastery isn't perfection, it's consistency, it's choosing awareness again and again, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. That's where transformation happens, not in the easy moments, but in the moments that demand calm when you least want to give it. Becoming the calm. You've heard the phrase stay calm, stay dangerous. But what does it really mean? It means becoming the person who can walk through storms and not be swept away. It means building a mind that doesn't panic, a heart that doesn't crumble, and a spirit that doesn't surrender. It means you don't chase power, you become it. You move through life with quiet confidence. You speak with precision. You act with purpose. You carry peace like armor. That's the calm that makes you dangerous. Because nothing can shake you anymore. Your legacy of calm people will remember how you make them feel. They'll remember your steadiness when things went wrong. They'll remember your voice that never rose, your patience that never broke, your control that never wavered. And through your calm, you'll inspire others to find theirs. Because calm isn't just personal, it's contagious. It spreads, it stabilizes, It heals. That is your legacy. Not chaos, but composure. Not reaction but reason. Not fear, but focus. Final words. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more calm. It needs more people who can think clearly, act wisely and stand firmly, no matter the pressure. Be that person, be that presence, be the calm that others can count on. Because calm is not weakness. Calm is strength under control. And when strength meets peace, you become unstoppable. So take this mindset with you. Carry it into your work, your relationships, your leadership, your life. And every time chaos calls your name, remember this: you don't need to match its energy. You only need to master your own. Stay grounded, stay aware, stay dangerous. Because the calmest person in the room will always be the most powerful one. Stay calm, stay focused, stay dangerous.